Shalom. I want to start out by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, Call Hello Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. These are alternative news source I've been watching, and this guy's brilliant, so I'm playing. A lot of this stuff I didn't know, so I think it's interesting. So
Hey, we talked about why we're in Syria. You ever wonder why we're in Syria? It's still because we're trying to help people. I'm here with Robert Yesamura, Hank Thompson. We're going to talk about Syria. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he wrote an article. We covered some of it that appeared in the Politico.
And there's
This is also over at Echo Watch.
another thing concerning Syria, and I'm just going to play this.
Stuff that we left out I want to talk about. So what are we doing in Syria, right? So what America doesn't know is that the CIA, at our behest, has been toppling governments in the Mideast left and right, trying to all the time since the 40s. This is true. Iran, Syria, Jordan, Afghanistan, all of them. We've been had our fingers in. We want to control it. And Robert Kennedy says, while the compliant American press parrots the narrative that our military support for the Syrian insurgency is purely humanitarian, many Syrians see the present crisis as just another proxy war over pipelines and geopolitics. What? A pipeline? I've never once heard Rachel Maddow or Brian Williams mention a pipeline. And that's why we're in Syria. Did you ever hear that, Hank? You ever hear anybody mention that, a pipeline?
No, not a lot of pipeline talk on
Brian about what we're doing in Syria.
And this guy pointed out all those journalists are actually real smart and know what's going on.
About anything in terms of Syria that explain what the hell's going on.
No, it's just that there's Assad is bad.
Assad is bad,
and ISIS cuts people's heads off,
and Russia's there, and they're
Russia's there. We're gonna fix it.
Mosul. Mosul.
A lot of people think the Syrian war started in 2011 with the Arab Spring, but instead it really began in 2000. Was it Ralph Nader? No. It was when Qatar proposed to construct a $10 billion, 1,500-kilometer pipeline through Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Syria, and Turkey. So now this has been going on for not just since 2000. In fact, he points out that the Bruce Lovett report, which is from the 50s, pointed out that when the CIA keeps intervening, that this is antithetical to American values, and it has compromised America's international leadership and moral authority without the knowledge of the American people. So like when the CIA overthrew the Iran government, tried to overthrow the Syrian government, the people on the ground know this stuff, but we don't know it here in America. So they know that. And the report, this is a report from our own government, the report blamed the CIA for the rampant anti-Americanism that was mysteriously taking root in the many countries in the world today. So it wasn't that they hate our freedom or our liberty. This is even back in the 50s. It was rampant anti-American was because of the CIA effing with other people's governments in the Middle East, all for war, and because they were afraid of Arab nationalism. Right? They saw that as fighting. We're going to fight Marxism, so we're going to fight Arab nationalism. And whenever an Arab country wanted to keep their own oil reserves for their own people, that meant we had to go stop that. Right? So here's the pipeline that he's talking about.
I'm going to fast forward to some key points. Right here should be good.
Market. But they never tell you this stuff. Like, I mean, you have to seek this information.
See, this is an attack on Russia.
They never say it like in the consciousness of the American people. They don't ever do that. In 2009, Assad announced that he would refuse to sign the agreement to allow the pipeline to run through Syria to protect the entrance of our Russian ally. What happened then when he tells the United States and Saudi Arabia that I'm not going to let you have your pipeline? What do you think happened? Well, at that very moment that Assad rejected the pipeline, military and intelligence planners quickly arrived at a consensus that fomenting a Sunni uprising in Syria would be a good thing. At that very moment, they decided to, hey, let's overthrow this guy. According to Sy Hersh, before the war started, Assad was moving to liberalize the country. Yeah, so they weren't going towards theocracy or fundamentalism. Syria was actually, again, the way Iran was before we messed it up, a secular democracy, right? So he was
Like in the 1950s or something like that, there's this guy, Mossadegh or something like that. He was actually he was passing democracy throughout all Iran, and they ended up ousting that guy, probably killing him or something, because America has no problem killing anybody, and they put somebody in there. So now Iran hates Americans because of theocracy. It was America's fault.
moving that way. According to him, he said they had internet and newspapers and ATM machines, and Assad wanted to move toward the West. After 9/11, get this, Robert, Assad gave thousands of invaluable files to the CIA on jihadist radicals, who he considered a mutual enemy.
Who he still does.
Yes, he does. We consider ISIS an enemy. So does Assad. Except we consider Assad an enemy too. I say bomb them both, which is what we're doing. All right, ready? On September 4th, get this, Robert. On September 4th, 2013, Secretary of State John Kerry told a congressional hearing that the Sunni kingdoms, meaning like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, had offered to foot the bill for a U.S. invasion of Syria to oust Assad. This is in 2013. Kerry told a congressional hearing. I never heard this reported. Did you hear this reported? He said, in fact, some of them, this is according to Kerry, in fact, some of them had said that if some of them, meaning the Arab states, the Sunni Arab states, meaning Qatar, Saudi Arabia, some of them had said that if the United States is prepared to go do the whole thing, the way we've done it previously in other places, Iraq, they'll carry the cost.
And we're helping Saudi Arabia with genocide
so that's
in
what
Yemen.
This is all about oil, a pipeline. This isn't about John Kerry pretending to be upset that they're bombing hospitals or using chemical weapons, and that's why we got to go in there. It's all about oil. And Saudi Arabia use the American dollar as their oil-based price, right? We don't have the dollar's no longer backed by gold; it's backed by Saudi Arabian oil. Yes. So Kerry reiterated to that offer that the Saudis and the Sunni Arab states had made to Representative Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, that's how you say her name, quote, with respect to the Arab countries offering to bear the cost of an American invasion to topple Assad, the answer is profoundly yes. They have. The offer is on the table. That's what Kerry told somebody. John Kerry, Secretary of State. So in 2011, the U.S. joined France, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and England.
Same three people.
To form the Friends of Syria coalition. Boy, is that Orwellian.
Orwellian's propaganda. My dad's a former history teacher. He gave me the whole scoop on Orwellian. You know, basically, they call themselves Friends of Syria coalition, so it sounds good to the American public, but they're trying to kill Syrians.
That's a really creepy sounding thing, man. That sounds like the worst sewing circle ever.
In 2011, we founded the Friends of Syria coalition, which formally demanded the removal of Assad. The CIA then provided $6 million to Barada, a British team, to produce pieces and treating Assad for propaganda. Saudi intelligence documents published by WikiLeaks show that by 2012, Turkey, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia were arming, training, and funding radical jihadist Sunni fighters from Syria, Iraq, and elsewhere to overthrow Assad. So that means all of our allies in the Mideast were funding the people we claim to be fighting. ISIS, cutting people's heads off, radical Islamic jihadists. Those people, the guy who's up, those people, our friends in the Mideast are funding. So they're funding our enemies. Our friends are friends with our enemies. The idea of fomenting a Sunni Shia civil war to weaken the Syrian and Iranian regimes so as to maintain control of the region's petrochemical supplies was not a novel notion in the Pentagon lexicon. Really? This wasn't the first time they thought of it? No, in fact, a damning 2008 Pentagon funded RAND report proposed a precise blueprint for what was about to happen. The report observes that control of the Persian Gulf oil and gas deposits will remain for the U.S. a strategic priority that will interact strongly with that of prosecuting the long war.
It means America's not going anywhere. They're going after that oil. And it was an attack on Russia. Russia's not going to let go of their oil because they're allies with Syria. Okay? Again, all these sanctions being put on Russia, the Russian economy is growing. And if America leaves, that means Russia gets to produce more bombs. So this World War III thing is happening.
Ugh. In 2008, they said this. The long war. The long war to overthrow the uncooperative Bashar Assad was a feasible path to achieving the shared objective of completing the Qatar-Turkey gas link. So there's more to this. We'll cover it tomorrow. There's a lot more to this. We've covered some yesterday, covering this today.
And by the way, let me just say, so I'm more moderate than you are. I'm not conspiracy minded. None of this I don't believe. I believe every single thing about this, and I'll tell you why. Because it's been American foreign policy since 1940.
Yeah, since the World War to do this.
Like to do things like this. Nothing about this surprise. Matter of fact, this actually makes more sense as an explanation for most of what's been going on in the Middle East over the last 10
Perfect
years
sense.
than anything I've ever heard. I don't doubt any of this for a second.
This is, of course, what's going on.
No, it's freedom. They want democracy.
They hate us for our freedom.
They hate us because we have fun sports games.
All right, anyways. I like this guy. I'm going to keep watching this. I'm just a mind reader being on me. I hate being around comedians because they rip you a new asshole every time. But anyway. So there's no way anyone's going to be leaving Syria anytime soon. And if they do, that means Iran, Russia, their economy grows. And that's not going to happen because America's done so much fucked up shit. They have to please everybody and control everybody, suppress everybody. All right, so, and Turkey, oddly enough, is siding with Russia, according to prophecy, because Russia is rising up. All right, so now, Obadiah, first chapter. Shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, which is America, understanding out Mount Esau, and the mighty men, O Timon, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Anyways, America is going to be destroyed via nuclear weapons. World War III is happening right now. All these steps are being taken towards that right now. And again, double-edged sword, man. Illuminati rules. Either way, Shalom.